Hi, this is Alan Mearns. Welcome to part 3 of this basic finger picking group of lessons. Today we're going to talk about the thumb. Okay, so the thumb is kind of like the most amazing finger of the 5, right? It's a little bit freaky actually. Sometimes we think of the thumb as starting here, which sometimes leads to people picking the strings kind of weird with the thumb. The thumb is actually huge, right? Your thumb starts here, which kind of can freak you out. It looks like a big chicken drumstick or something. So this part here that joins the skin of your hand is actually like the middle of your thumb. That's actually the equivalent of this joint, right? So take a moment and examine your big freaky thumb and just stand in awe of it for the first time. So we have to learn how to use our thumb well and to actually try and initiate movement from the base of the thumb, just like we're trying to initiate movement from the large knuckle of our finger, okay? And try and avoid this kind of thing too much. I mean, you can articulate it towards the end of your thumb. I see like David Russell, the great classical guitarist, he kind of wiggles his thumb a little bit at the end. But in general, we want to try and start moving it from here. A good thing to think about too, when I mentioned last time about mimicking and the power of just observance and trying to copy something, I would advise maybe just watching like a video with John Williams, the great classical guitarist, and just look at his big freaky thumb for a while, and you just kind of pretend that you're John Williams. I remember when I was finishing high school here in North Carolina, and I actually skipped my own high school graduation ceremony to go to a guitar festival, believe it or not. And this is way before, you know, the internet and stuff. And one of these guys that was there, he was like a graduate student. He was like, you need to get this video of John Williams playing. And he was talking about the Seville concert. You can just look it up on YouTube now. And it's incredible kind of seeing John Williams play. But he actually emailed, or he mailed me after the festival this package, you know, with a VHS tape, you know, with this John Williams concert on it. So information back then and the possibility of mimicking someone was much slighter. So take advantage of YouTube, take advantage of, you know, all these things that you can see, and just kind of acquiring physical knowledge through mimicking. So when I got this VHS, you know, I put it in to watch it on the TV, and I swear just watching that once I was immediately a better guitar player, because in my head I was kind of like, oh, I'm John Williams, you know. So you'll notice with John Williams just very clearly his very articulate thumb, and you'll notice that his thumb is moving very independently of his fingers. Okay, so this is what we want to try and instill in this lesson. If you haven't watched the other lessons, watch part 1 and part 2, or this won't make much sense. So you're in core position, right? Pizza guy, right? Especially if you've got a nice thumbnail you're working with, or you have to have the pizza guy to get that nice tone on your thumb, or else you'll just get this side of the nail or no nail. So we're in core position, and the idea is that we want to move our thumb back and forth through the different bass strings without messing with the fingers, without messing with the core position. So you can see how my fingers aren't moving, but my thumb is kind of traveling. So that's one of our goals, is to have the thumb move and the fingers to be able to stay. Okay, so we don't want to play a thumb note and then our hand have to come up because our thumb's there. We want our thumb to kind of be able to traverse across the strings. Now let's talk about like our thumb stroke. Okay. Now have a look at your thumb just without the guitar, and maybe pretend for a second that it's Roger Federer doing a good forehand, you know, with that slight upward movement, right? Obviously when we pluck one of the strings, unless we're trying to do this, we want to avoid the next string. We don't want to pluck and then hit another string. So there's an implicated kind of elliptical motion that we need to acquire with our thumb, like this. Another way to think about it is your thumb kind of dipping into the string and coming back out, a bit like like a Viking boat, you know, with the oar dipping into the water, and then coming back out in a kind of an elliptical motion. So you're striking the string. So let's just try and do that, you know, over and over again, even though you've probably been plucking for a while like this, but you can see we got the pizza guy here, right? So just imagine that Viking oar dipping into the string that you're trying to hit. And this is the stroke that we use most of the time. Sometimes in classical guitar you'll use what's called a rest stroke, where you just rest on the next string. But for our purposes, we kind of want to keep things flowing, you know, because we're going to be playing patterns. Alright, so that's the basic movement of the thumb when we pluck the strings, and we're going to try and not to affect the fingers in chord position, try and keep them the same. Okay, so that leads me to the first ever thing that I learned on the guitar. My brother was an aspiring bass player when I got my first guitar for Christmas, and he was like, well, I'll teach you this song here, you know. And he was like, okay, it goes like this. I was like, what kind of song is that? Well, it's the famous U2 song, Desire, right? Or Desiree, depending on how you pronounce it. Desire, right? That song. So it sounds a bit cooler with the chords, but the bass player would be playing these notes: D chord, A chord, E chord. So it's all open strings. So you can use that Desire song as a wee exercise for your thumb, and the point of it is that your fingers stay in chord position. Just keep them touching the treble strings. I, M, A. You remember the name of the fingers? Pi Mac, right? You greet someone, just say Pi Mac. Someone that you want to stay away from you, just go up to them, go Pi Mac, and they'll probably avoid you for the rest of your life. So P-I-M-A-C, Pi Mac. So you want to keep I, M, and A on the treble strings and play that U2 song. Okay, and then next we can try and let's try and correspond with our fingers a little bit and the thumb. So this lesson's all about getting the thumb moving. The thumb's an amazingly smart appendage, you know, and it's just we do nearly everything in our lives with your index finger and thumb, you know, and these guys are kind of like the goon squad that we have to train and get them up to the level of the thumb and finger. So let's start corresponding a wee bit. Still trying to maintain this kind of steadiness with the fingers. So what we can do is maybe make a wee E minor chord, or you can make it an E major chord if you want to feel a little more up. I'm more of an E minor kind of guy. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck the E string, and then I'm going to pluck the third string, the G string, with my I finger, and then I'm going to move up with my thumb to the fifth string, and then the fourth string, and hitting I every other time. So it would sound something like this. Same thing, trying to keep these guys where they are and not have them adjust to the thumb, have the thumb adjust to them. Okay, then let's try it then in a kind of a triplet fashion, nice and slow, with P-I-M. And we're going to do the same strings with our thumb, only it'll sound a bit like this. Speed it up like... Right? And you could do any variations of these things. We can also do it like a 16th note in groups of 4 like that too. We can go P, I, M back to I. Slower like this. So this is the kind of thing actually that is on a lot of those brilliant early Leonard Cohen records before he started doing the kind of semi-ironic synth hotel karaoke sound. He spent some time working with a kind of Spanish guitar style, and a lot of those brooding songs sound like that. Or in triplets. Then we can go all the way through, like in our last lesson, where we go P-I-M-A, only we're going to make our thumb travel and try and keep our core position consistent. And then obviously there's also many songs that have kind of just an alternating thumb, because the thumb is essentially imitating like a bass, like a stand-up bass. So you could, you know, right, or sorry about that. Okay, so try some of these things, get the thumb moving. In another lesson I'll be exploring repeated notes with the thumb, which is another way of kind of imitating a bass player that you can't afford to pay, you know, sadly, and you want your sound to be kind of complete. So, as before, please, if you find this useful, like and subscribe and ring the wee bell, and so you'll know when the next video's out. And please, I like to make this a conversation as much as possible. So if there's something you're curious about my guitar playing, or just about music in general, that hopefully I can answer, and you know, hopefully build something that'll keep you interested, keep you playing. And in the future we're going to get into all kinds of stuff. We're going to get into the intricacies of songwriting, lyrics, I'm going to do some classical guitar stuff. That's just a part of kind of where my guitar playing comes from, and I'll kind of nerd out with that for if anybody wants to participate in that too. And we'll also do some electric guitar stuff. I can do pretty much whatever you're interested in, and so let's just start the conversation, and hopefully I'll see you later on the interwebs. Bye.